Hey guys, this is Kristin from KristinCoaching.com, and thank you again for joining me for another relationship video today. We're going to be discussing the signs that your significant other is a toxic person. I wanted to do this video for you today because relationships are either healthy or they're unhealthy. There isn't really an in-between. People like to convince themselves that there is. They say, well, sometimes our relationship is really perfect and great and everything's awesome, but then sometimes we just get in these crazy fights and we throw things across the room and we curse at each other and yell and we don't talk to each other for a week. Okay, that negative behavior that just happened is going to be outweighing that good behavior. What happened in that situation for that week, yelling, cursing, and not talking to each other, has outweighed the positive. That is a toxic situation, and that is a sign of an unhealthy relationship. So I think when we're in a relationship and we're in the muck, it's really hard sometimes to identify if our significant others are healthy individuals for us. A lot of times we just don't see it and we just don't know. And my whole purpose of my channel is to give you awareness, to give you relationship skills, relationship advice, so you can have the happiest and healthiest relationship out there possible. And if your significant other is a toxic person, you're not going to be able to have a healthy relationship. In fact, you're going to be having a toxic relationship. So I want to shed some light for you guys today on that. As you guys know, I'm a relationship coach. I'm a licensed therapist. And again, my channel is to help you guys with your relationships so you can go on and be happy and healthy in them. And if you're in an unhealthy relationship and you're not able to get out of that, and your significant other isn't willing to put in the work that they need to do to work on themselves and fix themselves, then you got to get out. You got to get out. You got to close that door and open a new one to make yourself available for a happy, healthy relationship. So thank you for listening to my rant. I know it was kind of long, but I just want to tell you the reason why I want to do this video for you today. So let's dive into the 7 signs that your significant other is a toxic person, could be a toxic person, and let's shed some awareness and some light, okay? So sign number 1, the conversations are all about them. Usually in an unhealthy relationship, being with a toxic individual, things are honestly and obviously and consistently one-sided. So if the conversation's all about them, they're always talking about what they're going through, what their stresses are, what's hard in their life, but they're not asking you about yours, and you're constantly just there to support them, but they're not being like, hey, tell me about you, what's going on with you, I want to be there for you. A toxic person doesn't have that reciprocal situation going on, and they just want to be in it for themselves, getting the support that they need so they can be happy, right? But they're not gonna go out of their way and do that for you. So that's a big sign. Are you giving more in the relationship emotionally than you're getting back? That's a question that you need to ask yourself. Sign number 2, that your significant other is a toxic person. They don't ever talk about their feelings. This is definitely a big sign. If you aren't sure how your significant other is feeling, maybe they're in a bad mood, they're grumpy, but they refuse to talk about what's going on. That can be a super unhealthy, toxic situation because you're constantly guessing, you're constantly walking on eggshells. You don't want to say anything that's going to make them go off more, but you really don't know what the trigger is, and you don't know what's wrong. They're refusing to open up. They're refusing to open up their hearts and their emotions and their feelings. So you're constantly like on edge, like, I don't know what to do. I guess I'm gonna try to be supportive, but usually that backfires and they lash out at you. So ask yourself, how much is your significant other truly talking about themselves, their feelings, their emotions, what they're going through? How much are they opening up to you? Or do you feel like you're constantly just guessing, playing this guessing game to figure out what is going on inside of them? Okay, that's a question for you. You got to figure that out. What does that look like in your relationship? Sign number 3 that your significant other is a toxic person is you don't know what version of them you're gonna get. So are you gonna get the the angry, rageful, I'm in such a bad mood? Or are you going to get the person who's like, I'm in such a good mood today, everything's great, and you're feeling like they're being really kind and nice and sweet? What version of them are you getting? Do you not know? Usually unpredictable behaviors are definitely a sign that you're with a toxic significant other and you're having a toxic, unhealthy relationship. We need to be able to predict our partners pretty much. I'm not saying that you can't be in a bad mood or have a bad day, but if it's constantly like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde situation and you just don't know what you're gonna get, and you're just like, and you're driving home at the end of the day being like, oh, I hope my other half is in a good mood. I hope my other half is in a good mood. I just don't know what's gonna happen. If you're constantly guessing and on edge like that and are worried, definitely a sign your significant other could be a toxic person, and that's definitely a red flag. Sign number 4, sorry. They never apologize. Listen, in a healthy relationship, being with a healthy individual, you have to be able to take responsibility for your behaviors. That includes apologizing for wrongdoings and mistakes that you make. So if your significant other is not apologizing to you for any wrongdoings, and you're always the one to say that first or do that, that is not a healthy situation to be in. We are imperfect people. We are going to make mistakes. Even if there is a relationship that's unhealthy, I guarantee it's not just one person that's doing the unhealthy behavior. It takes two to tango. So you have to be able to recognize what you're doing wrong, what you're going to be doing better in the future, and where to go from there. So ask yourself, does your significant other apologize for wrongdoings? Do they take responsibility for their mistakes and their behaviors? You have to ask that. Number 5, they're going to rub it in your face when you do something wrong. This is definitely a sign of a toxic significant other, because we all do something wrong, right? But when we rub it in our partner's face that, oh, you messed up, you are so stupid, I don't know why you did that, you're so dumb, you don't think, if they rub it in and make you feel worse than you already do or you already should, and they bring down your own self-esteem and your self-worth, and they really impact that, definitely a sign that you're with a toxic individual. So it's something to really pay attention to. Does your significant other kick you while you're down? Do they make you feel worse than you should? Do they make you feel worse when you're already feeling bad? Do they not forgive you when you make mistakes? Questions to ask yourself. Sign number 6 that your significant other is a toxic person is they talk bad about their exes. Oh, this is such a big red flag, you guys. If your significant other only says bad things about their exes, definitely a sign that they are an unhealthy person. Look, I get that, we all have exes for a reason. Obviously, it didn't go well for whatever reason, or there's a reason why we broke up with them, right? Or they broke up with us, whatever it is. There's a reason it didn't work out. But if they are constantly saying, oh, my ex was crazy, this, and that, and saying that about all of their exes, that's a sign that they're not taking that personal responsibility of what went wrong in the relationship. And that's a problem. I'm going to self-disclose because I just want to, because we're in that type of a, situation, and I feel like I want to let you know what I've been through in my past relationships. I dated this guy who got into this domestic violence situation where I believe he beat her up, went to jail, had to take domestic violence classes. I was super young. I was 17 or younger at the time when I was dating this guy. And anyways, the way he was describing it, I remember telling me oh, she did this, it was totally her fault, she did this, and that, and I just had to defend myself, or whatever it was. But this guy went to jail, he took domestic violence classes, went to court. Obviously what he did was messed up. He obviously hurt her, physically, but didn't take any responsibility in that behavior and totally blamed it on her. Turns out that relationship that I was in was completely unhealthy for me. Thank God it ended, and I was able to open up another door and find, my now husband, but if I hadn't, I would have been in that relationship for longer, and it would have been so ugly and so toxic. But I remember looking back on it now, just you did something so bad and unhealthy, and you hurt somebody physically, and you don't even think that any of it is your fault. Definitely a problem. So, make sure that you know, your significant others aren't only talking negative about their exes, that they're also able to take personal responsibility for why things went wrong in their past relationships. Last but not least, sign that your significant other is a toxic person is they make insulting comments to you and they don't even admit it. So oftentimes in toxic relationships, our significant others will make passive aggressive, rude comments about you. Whatever it is, like, oh, you should have thought about that had you have been thinking. Or, you know, I just can't believe you would think about, you know, something so stupid, or whatever it is. And then you confront them and say, hey, that really hurt my feelings. I can't believe you would say something about it. So say something like that about me. They'll say, what are you talking about? I never said that. I never called you stupid. I never insulted you, or whatever it is. Or like, God, you're so sensitive. You know, why do you get so sensitive? I'm just kidding. You know, so they'll totally say these backhanded, rude comments. And then when you address it with them and you say how much it hurt you and you wish that they wouldn't do that, they just insult you more. You're stupid. You're too sensitive. I never said that. They'll invalidate that even happened in the first place. Ugh, such a huge red flag and sign of a toxic person and a toxic relationship. Okay, so those are my 7 signs, you guys. I hope that you can think about these for your relationship. Think about if any of these are pertaining to your situation, because look, you're not going to have a healthy relationship if you're dating a toxic individual. So in order to not date a toxic individual, that individual needs to be willing to work on themselves, improve their situations, because, you know, sometimes we do toxic things and we don't realize, and we realize that it hurts other people or impacts other people. We're going to want to better ourselves. If we're good people and we care, you know, and we care about our significant others and we love them, we're going to be like, oh, shoot, you know, I really shouldn't do that. It's something I want to work on. That's the best case scenario. So if you're with a toxic individual who's willing to better themselves, that is awesome. But if you're with a toxic individual that refuses to acknowledge what they're doing is bad or wrong and doesn't want to make any changes, the chances of you having a healthy relationship are really slim to nil. So you need to figure out what you are going to do in your relationship. You need to figure out if this relationship is right for you. Are you making the best and healthiest decision for you? Is this right for you? You have to ask these hard questions because they are really important, because at the end of the day, you need to take care of yourselves. You deserve to be in a happy, healthy relationship, and that takes 2 to tango. So if your significant other is not willing to do that and they want to stay in the toxicity, well, the question is, are you going to stay in the toxicity? What are you going to do about it? And you have choices. You have freedom of choice. That is what you have. That is a huge, huge empowerment that everyone has on what they're going to do with their lives and who they're going to choose to spend their lives with. So I really want to make a video on this today. I hope you found it helpful and insightful. If you have any questions, please comment below. I'll get back to you like I always do. Subscribe to my YouTube page. Smash the thumbs up button if you haven't already. I'll see you guys next time for my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, this is Kristin from KristinCoaching.com. See you guys next time. Take care.